shots.
0-0.
Tardio, the first server of the match. Right away, going for a crafty angle, a little too much.
Yeah, and if there was a set play that I was going to expect to see on that first point, it would be serve to Fedi's forehand, him going for that inside out,
0-0.
trying to get that angle there.
Why do you think that's a set play?
Just, he's so great with the angles there, and I think his paddle is a little bit more on the control side, so being able to find those angles a little bit easier than blasting it through someone.
Tweener. Couldn't get there.
Wind picking up there a little bit too, as Gabe was going for that shot from the forehand cross court to Fedi. I think benefited Fedi a little bit there, coming away with that point.
Off the net, little help for Staksrud. Takes the opening point of the match. No Ben Johns in the men's singles draw. On the other side of this matchup, it's Roscoe Bellamy and Zane Ford, the next semifinal matchup of who would contend for Championship Sunday.
1-0.
Yeah, and both of those players, I think, would be a first-time Sunday, so seeing some new faces, which is always good to see.
Yeah. Singles is no easy feat, especially in men's. You know that, Connor, all too well.
0-1.
Yeah, men's singles, the depth of the qualifiers, I think, is the biggest of any event. You have a lot of players in that transition from tennis to men's singles, or just singles in general, is one of the most one-to-one. So you see so many people kind of making that jump into pickleball, and it's caused some awesome competition and a lot of new faces.
Nice angle from Gabe Tardio. You promised it, and Gabe delivered.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to start to see if Fedi gets into those kind of patterns where they're up at the kitchen. I think that's probably going to favor Gabe a little bit.
0-1.
Sneak attack from Staksrud. Throws a paddle out, hits an unsuspecting angle off his backhand touch.
Yeah, great shot by Fedi there. And Gabe's scoreless, unable to find that kind of way to get in on his serve. Fed doing a great job of holding Gabe to no points and slowly clawing away with a few, with the net court and maybe a little bit of wind there. And just that steadiness of Fed is just so powerful.
2-0.
There's one way to get through. Staksrud gets the ball back, still looking for a point though. What's the best way to strategize against a player like Fed who has no holes in his game after this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's playing to your strength and finding that way to create. And just like that, Tardio with the inside-out forehand, which is something he loves and is able to hit better than most, and gets the point with it.
Oh, man.
Side out.
And every part of the court to work with.
Yeah, I think Gabe got everything he wanted there, and probably too many ideas got in his head there, and just overthought it a little bit and was unable to come away with that one, but probably wants it back for sure.
2-1. Point.
Great serve by Fedi there, especially on these courts where the ball stays a little lower. You got to really get down on that return, and if you're not, you're going to struggle a little bit there.
Can't appeal.
Gabe Tardio was clarifying with Onisha if that ball was good.
In ruling puts us at .41. We'll now proceed to video review.
It's a matter of inches there.
After review, the rally stands as played. The ball was in. Loss of challenge. No free challenges remaining. One free challenge remaining. We'll resume play at .41.
I like the timeout there, but we'll see if the challenge, using a challenge to do it, causes Gabe any heartache later on in this first game.
Point.
And there again, the big serve, and you really got to get low on that one to get it back. Nice return there by Gabe.
Side out.
In your many matchups against Federico Staksrud, how does he frustrate you the most?
I mean, all of the guys in singles, it's just the no quit aspect. You never feel safe against him. You know he can come back from anything. When I was en route to my first title, I was up a game in 7-1, and he was able to come back.
Yeah.
And you just have to keep going for it because he is so good and so steady.
5-1.
He's serving from Staksrud. It's a missed return from Tardio.
Yeah, and Fedi likes to go fast here when he has that momentum, quickly on that line, controlling the tempo, gets another quick point. I think if I was Gabe, I'd probably take a timeout here.
7-1.
Oh, what a shot from Tardio. Breaking Fed's ankles with that one.
Yeah, really impressive. I mean, when Fedi got that ball deep on this one right here to Gabe's backhand, hitting that behind him cross court and staying in that point was really impressive. And just his cat and mouse skills on full display.
Up the tee and an ace. You never see that nowadays.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Have you ever been aced?
I don't think I've ever been aced. I hope not, at least.
Well, if nothing else, Gabe Tardio can say he aced Federico Staksrud.
This is true. Ooh. All right. I think he wants that one back. Great setup there. And just a little, that margin so small there, but had what he wanted for sure.
Seven-2.
So slick to the corner from Staksrud.
Yeah, and it's just, I think one of Fedi's superpowers is just, he plays the percentages so well. He let Gabe ace him there, Gabe aced him there, but he's just sticking to his game plan, doesn't get flustered. Gabe's a player that can come out with some flash and hit some really amazing shots, but Fedi's gonna play that consistent game where he knows that what he has can get him titles, and it's evidenced by last year, so not needing to change too much.
Tardio dazzling the crowd once again.
Yeah, that cat and mouse prowess just taking over.
3-8.
Little drop, comes in, finds the open court.
Ooh, got there. Looking for the winner down the line, too much. Staksrud looking for his first title since the Masters this year, the Grand Slam event. Started the year hot, 2 golds, one in Daytona, win over Zane Ford, and one in the Masters.
Point.
Just deep for Tardio.
Yeah, and a nice two-y there by Fedi. First the forehand to set up that backhand and getting the missed volley off of that, which once Fedi's backhand starts running, you know you're in trouble, so.
Point.
Snaps that volley home out of the air from the mid-court.
Yeah.
Game point.
Getting around that ball so nicely. Him and Tyson.
Yeah, how did
out
they do
of the
that?
air, just curl that ball around better than most.
10-3. Side out. Three-10. Point.
Almost a second ace with a slightly unlucky bounce there. But, you know, you never hate that when you're down. Getting a little court love never hurts. Great serve by Gabe there.
Nice, and Staksrud reverses the flow.
Yeah, and Fedi's forehand volley is, he can create so much with that, that you gotta always be cautious when you're going there.
Side out.
When you talk about him playing the percentages, he also sees the play ahead of him so well and where your court positioning is and what his openings will look like in the following possession.
4-10. Side out.
And I
Game
think
point.
a slight indecision there with Gabe looking to come in, and Fedi got it just deep enough to make him second guess his play there and coming out with forced error.
Game point number 3,
11-4.
signed, sealed, delivered. Federico Staksrud takes the first.
Holds. 0-0.
Most are happy to just get one. He was at the podium almost every tournament last year.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting too to see the stats of the last couple of years as pickleball has grown in popularity and competitiveness. That stat in the last 2 years could be one of the most formidable, if not top 3.
Yeah, it might hold as a record for a while.
Yeah. Few unforced errors to start game 2. We'll see who settles in first here.
Gabe Tardio received some advice from his men's doubles partner, Ben Johns, at his bench. I think that's really cool that Ben is showing up to help coach the youngster.
Yeah, and Ben has some serious success against Fedi. So we'll see how that advice starts to play in here as Gabe has the early lead.
Seems like Gabe Tardio is still growing.
0-2.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I feel like he's taller.
Yeah, it's interesting. In pickleball, there is a little bit of the debate of, do you want to be that kind of tall, kind of lanky?
Yeah.
Because you can reach into the kitchen and you just have that, like a him or like Ignatowicz or Deescu or Alshon, like their reach, versus someone maybe like a Hayden Patrick-Wynn, who his counters are shoulder height, so it's a little bit more natural to counter down on that ball.
What do you think? What's your opinion?
I think my height's perfect. But no, I think both have their benefits. And I mean, what I love to talk about with pickleball is like every kind of player has their strengths and weaknesses for that. And so you have to play the player to some extent as well. And if I'm playing Gabe here, avoiding that cat and mouse is something with that reach and lankiness that I want to be very cognizant of. And if I'm Gabe, I want to be getting Fedi into the non-tennis type points as much as possible.
Oh, that's too good. Fade away winner for Staksrud.
Yeah, the signature shot by Federico there is that forehand on the run cross court, and it's just so good. He makes that such a high percentage of the time, and it's really probably his most world-class shot in his singles game.
Is there any way to read it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can start to pick up on it, and I think playing the percentages as well, knowing what people do in certain situations is as well. Like sometimes you have to guess and be like, well, from past experience, I see this shot he hits maybe 70% of the time, so I'll give up the other one and make him think a little bit maybe.
2-2.
Couple of points for Gabe Tardio. Steals a 1-point lead.
Yeah, Gabe getting into a little bit of the cat and mouse there and having some success.
Gabe Tardio has a gold in mixed, several in men's doubles, looking for his first in men's singles.
He did get the one in Australia in singles over
right.
Tyson. So I think he has
He does. He has the perfect set.
The perfect set, which is a big feat in pickleball, being able to get it in every event.
Side out.
Fedi down 2 here with the serve. The wind picking up a little bit, so we'll see how that changes his approach here.
Heavy serve will help Staksrud's cause.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit in the first match where the wind is behind Fedi right now. So he's having a little bit easier time with those drives, getting a few more free points on those bigger baseline shots.
4-3.
Ooh, a trickler off the tape. I think he had Fed beat either way. Tardio climbs ahead by 2 again.
Yeah, and you start to see the depth by Fedi versus the short angles by Tardio is kind of that battle that's going on right now. And Gabe coming away with that one.
5-3.
And he gets the ball down off of a heavy third.
Yeah, now if I'm Fed here, a little momentum, maybe taking a timeout and seeing what can happen.
Yep, you are correct. That's exactly what will happen as Fed walks to his bench slowly. 7-3 lead quickly. On the other side, Gabe Tardio will look.
I think Gabe's game suits this court
7-3.
well, and we'll see how Fedi responds down big in this second game.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Oh my. Crossing over Fed again. Another shifty play from Gabe Tardio.
Yeah, the two-y cross there just slow to Fedi's backhand. He's gotten him a couple times on that and has been paying off dividends. And we'll see. Fedi's so smart with this. We'll see if he starts shifting over a little bit to the left to kind of pick up on that.
2E Nation approved on that?
100%. No, that was a great.
Almost had the counter winner.
And Gabe takes pride in his one-handed flick, so it's nice to see him with a little bit of the two-y love from the baseline.
Mentioned that baseball background for you has been pivotal in the 2E development, which I thought was really interesting, more so than the tennis background.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started batting. My dad got me to bat lefty, and so everything on that side of my body was always kind of came natural to me. And I think it's really interesting. I mean, there's so many parallels with the different sports, like a baseball. That kinetic chain is so valuable. Golfers, whether it's badminton, you see a lot of the same things there. And now we see Fedi with a quick little run there. Fast serve here.
Yeah, not taking any time in between serves. That ball is deep. No questioning from Staksrud. He's complaining about something.
I think the release on the serve.
Onisha Smith doesn't play in those games.
Yeah.
8-5.
Yeah, Tardio with a higher serve than most, but also a taller guy than most. So I would say that you could make the argument that it's its height versus the actual release, but we'll see if anything happens with the service technique and release.
Side out.
You had to battle through some service adjustments you were making last year when you were trying to make it a more aggressive serve challenge on the court.
Yeah, and I mean, as Ben said, by Mike there for Fedi, and we'll see that helps.
The ball was out. Loss of challenge, no free challenges remaining. 1 free challenge remaining. We'll resume play at side out 5-9.
Well, that challenge kind of gave Fed a free timeout there too from Gabe Tardio.
Yeah, that timeout too
5-9.
could have hurt Gabe more than getting that point.
Unfazed at the moment for now. Side out for Gabe Tardio. Onisha calling Tony in for a brief discussion. Fed going over to eavesdrop.
Yeah, I wonder what that conversation was about.
Curious minds would love to know.
9-5.
Smoked it inside out down the line on his way up. Gabe Tardio brings game point to his side.
Yeah, and you see Gabe now hitting and moving through his first ball passes a little bit more than in the first game, and that's allowed for some success.
Side out.
You can tell who the fans are wanting to win in this one, and all signs pointing at Gabe Tardio.
Yeah, and he got a look there. Feddy doing a great job. That was the first one that Fed was able to handle low to his backhand and come away with that point. We'll see how that kind of signals going forward.
That mouse. Fed plays it to the corner, and Gabe misses the lob opportunity.
Yeah, Feddy looking just a slight bit more comfortable at that kitchen line these last 2 points, maybe settling in and maybe found something on Gabe. Obviously, I'd still back Gabe in those exchanges, but Fed making it a little closer.
6-10.
He's never out of it. He never feels safe.
Exactly.
Point.
Another miss from Gabe Tardio, who will then call
Timeout,
the
receiver,
timeout on his
7-10.
bench.
Opt or die, and so
7-10.
that's the biggest thing for me is just continuing. Wow, that's a crazy shot by Fed there, and I mean both these guys, their inside out forehands are really one of their strengths. 8-10, 2 points.
Boy.
8-10.
Oh my, how did he get there? Federico Staksrud somehow gets a hold of it, now with a chance to tie it.
Yeah, and that's once Feddy gets that forehand there, he can take it both spots. So really,
9-10.
really tough position for Gabe to be in there.
From 10-5 down, 5 straight points, and he ties it up. Staksrud, beast mode on semifinal Saturday. Gold medal performance on the line for tomorrow's championship Sunday. You know he's hungry for that without players like yourself in the draw now, and no Ben Johns.
Yeah, I mean, the draw really opened up, and Feddy definitely knows that. And when you're the 1 seed and the next highest seed is, I think, sub 10, I could be incorrect there, but it really adds a little extra pressure there to perform, and Feddy's definitely risen to the occasion.
Puts us at side out 10-11. We'll now proceed to video
And
review.
here,
Clearly out. Here's Onisha to confirm.
After review, the call in the court stands. The ball was out. Loss of challenge. No free challenges remaining. No free challenges remaining. We'll resume play at side out 10-11. Time in. 10-11.
Oh, it's wide. Gabe ties it back up at 11 just when he thought he was out of it. Saves a match point against.
yeah, and Feddy reading that backhand cross court, and I think was a little bit too on it for that volley miss, and that miss seeps into another miss on the return.
12-11.
Game point number 2 here for Gabe Tardio. Inside out it goes, and Gabe Tardio takes the second by 1.
That might help some other players as well with how to go about playing these different players, and yeah, great insight, and we'll see how Gabe starts this third game.
What would you say those patterns are for Fed that he relies on when he's in tighter game situations after this point is played? Great command of the kitchen for Fed. Let's out a roar.
Great point there, and I think I got to keep those to myself there so that Feddy doesn't have other people picking up on those things. And you know, I think with all of the players just being cognizant of what you're giving away is something that's also super important. There's that Feddy forehand that just able to command so well the point with that. Pretty impressive there. And you see him starting to get a little bit more fired up in this game. I think that's going to be key for him to come away with this third game. A little bit more energy. He seemed a little bit quieter than I've seen him normally in game 2.
Side out.
And a little bit less kind of controlling the tempo with like slowing it down when he's losing and speeding it up.
1-1.
We'll see how his towel breaks are in this third game.
Oh, wow. Gabe Tardio. Again, a sensational winner. Should also mention Staksrud out for 3 matches today, with 3 semifinal appearances, 1 in mixed and 1 in men's doubles to come later on, with the last match on center. It's a long day.
Yeah, very impressive getting to 3 Saturdays. Fedi has gotten a double crown in Sacramento last year, so very impressive to be able to come out there Saturdays and Sundays and be in the hunt and taking multiple gold medals in the same tournament.
Side out.
Finding that deep volley there, forces the miss and gets the serve back.
Well, he will run into Ben Johns in the mixed doubles semifinal with Anna Bright.
Yeah, and Anna, I think the last time, that's a crazy shot, beat Ben and Anna Lee. Was that in Mesa?
It was with Dekel Bar.
With Dekel Bar, so that's got to be something that I'm sure isn't lost on any of the players on that court.
We'll be on the call for that one. And that is a missed return for Gabe Tardio. Federico turning it up a notch ahead of the end change at 6.
Yeah, and I think with Gabe, he's going to come out with some amazing shots, and he'll give you a few. So also weathering the storm for Fed. We'll see if he's able to do that.
Wow, that backhand showed he was going to his left, then cranks it to the right. What a play by Gabe Tardio.
Yeah, so good with the misdirection up at that kitchen line.
3-3.
Just wide for Tardio. And the crowd is confused, as is Gabe Tardio.
On the sideline, out.
The call was out. Do you challenge here, Connor?
I from this angle would have looked out. It looked very out to me.
Okay.
But I mean, that's a big momentum point there, and you know, you don't want to go out without your challenges. So I never hate an additional challenge.
Federico put Gabe right where he wanted him. Capsizes a volley, takes a 1-point lead with it.
Yeah, and there we had it. Yeah, it was an inch or so wide.
Yep.
4-3.
You're on it. Little ping pong. That's good. The crowd goes nuts. Gabe Tardio gets it back. My turn, your turn.
Oh, and Fedi went right out of there. Tough to do when you've got the hands of Gabe Tardio, but great point.
3-4. Side out. Point.
Another missed return there. Fedi 5-3. Let's see if he can go to the switch with the 3-point lead here.
5-3.
Oh, he's looking at that line. That was a close one. We'll see. No challenge of that call.
3-5. Side out.
Feddy able to fend off the cross-court passes there by Gabe till he gets the high ball, puts it away. Another look to go to the switch with a 3-point lead.
5-3. Side out.
Attempted the drop. Wind picked up midway through the swing, and Gabe Tardio with a chance to zero in on the 2-point gap.
Yeah, and that wind, I think, is going to favor Gabe a little bit more than it favors Feddy. So we'll see how the wind persists. And I'm sure Gabe is hoping that there's a little bit more.
That is so good from Federico Staksrud.
Yeah, and you see him settling in a little bit more in those cat and mouse points. He's having a little bit more and more success, and that's what's given him this lead in this third game.
5-3. Side out.
A miss there, a little bit of momentum. It feels like Feddy's body language a little bit more down. We'll see if he can turn it around and get back in this point here.
Oh, what a play. Tardio back on the board. Chance to tie it.
Yeah, and there, just a slightly shorter return by Feddy after that miss. A little bit more cautious, and Gabe was able to capitalize on it and get into the net and play his game.
Four, 5.
Staksrud gets the side out. Perfect position, perfectly placed.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of Gabe. He wanted to go for that inside out there, and he was like, well, I know Feddy wants me or is thinking I'm going to go for that, so maybe I'm going to go somewhere else. And Fed was like, nah, man, I'm ready for it, and has a nice forehand volley there to get him the serve back.
Heavy rip. 6-4, and Fed will take the 2-point lead on his way to the other end where the wind will be at his back. Gabe Tardio will hit into the wind.
With Fed here, too, that ball's going to dip a little bit easier for Gabe.
Well, he's not wrong, and he normally isn't. Fed goes crashing into the post.
Nice little dropper by Gabe on these courts, even more effective because that ball's not bouncing up as high as it normally would.
Side out drive, Tardio with a chance to tie it once again. Curls it in, ties it at 6. What a play from Gabe Tardio.
Yeah, and I think you can just see on these points, Tardio with a little bit more intention on what that next ball is that he's going to hit after the one he's hitting, allowing himself to be in the right place to set up some pretty magical shots there.
Ooh, if he got that point, the confidence would be flowing. Federico Staksrud gets the ball back. Huge hold here for Gabe Tardio.
Ball back, a little bit of wind behind him. Feddy's got to be thinking, big serve here. Let me get a forehand and see what I can do, and we'll see what Gabe's plan is to stop him from executing that.
So would you return to the backhand then if you're Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful because Feddy's inside out is more deadly as well. So depends on how much purchase he can get on this ball here.
Keeps it to the middle. Staksrud pops it up, and Gabe Tardio gets the ball back on his side.
Yeah, and that middle takes away the angles there. So if he's not able to hit that cleanly, forcing Feddy to try and create something that's not there is definitely a good play.
Side out.
Denied by the net, and Staksrud calling a
6-6.
Cat Mouse takes it right off the tape. Fed goes the other way.
Point.
Yeah, and I love that timeout there because you see after that first passing shot he hits, he's already moving in, gets into that, kind of takes away Gabe's cat and mouse attempts by saying, I know you're going to do this and I'm going to preemptively come in, and if you hit it deep, too good. Gets him the point there, and we'll see if he does it again here.
7-6.
Drop volley hit with ease off the paddle of Tardio.
Yeah, and there you would have loved to see Fedi, if you're a Fedi fan, kind of taking an extra step in there on that same strategy, and Gabe going to the old reliable drop volley and having a ton of success.
Side out.
Staksrud hangs on.
Yeah, and if you're a Gabe fan, you probably are wanting that one back. He had a great look at that backhand pass there, and unfortunately not able to convert there to get to tie up the ball game here.
7-6.
Whoa, what a play. Gabe Tardio comes across the court. Hits the winner out of the air.
Yeah, great display of athleticism there by Gabe, and I liked what Fedi's doing there, and I thought that was a great adjustment. And if Gabe comes up with something like that, there's nothing you can really do but clap the paddle and say too good.
Another chance to tie it for Tardio. The advice from Ben Johns was to get to the net quickly. See how he manages that here. He wants that line. Twice now.
Yeah, and a nice deep return by Fedi there, forcing Gabe to be moving as he's hitting that shot. And so difficult if your feet aren't set there.
7-6.
Short return from Tardio does not convert for Staksrud. Overcooks it on the third.
Yeah, that's where that little wind at your back just slightly messes off the calculation, and slightly long, and now 6-7 instead of 8-6 serving.
What a shot again. Gabe Tardio showing off at the kitchen why he wants to get there first. 7-all.
Yeah, great shot by Gabe there. So comfortable at that kitchen line to really just do what he wants there, putting Fed kind of on skates a little bit.
And Gabe Tardio dips in a third for the 1-point lead. He needs 3 to take down the Giant, the 1 seed.
Free challenge timeout. Receiver 8-7.
Staksrud's feeling tight.
Seconds.
He is get him there. Now he's there. We'll see.
Wow, great shot.
And Gabe's one step ahead of the play when he knows what's coming, obviously.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting if Fedi watches this match back and hears that comment from Ben and starts changing how he plays. I wonder if he realizes that as well.
Return was...
Point.
Oh, wait, I'm confused. Fed stopped playing, Gabe didn't.
Yeah, I think Fedi knew he missed the return, but Gabe didn't call it, so
okay.
He hit the winner anyway.
Wow. Match point for the young 18-year-old Gabe Tardio, looking for his second final of his career. Oh, TP misses. Gabe Tardio takes it in 3. He is moving on to Championship Sunday, the 13 seed. Back to the Veolia, North Carolina Open. Upset City, Gabe Tardio takes out the 1 seed. Federico Staksrud, he did it in 3 games, and he's looking to polish off the Cinderella story on Championship Sunday tomorrow alongside Connor Garnett. I'm Michelle McMahon, and Gabe Tardio joins us courtside to discuss the big win. Gabe, you had lengthy discussions there at the bench with your men's doubles partner, Ben Johns. What does it mean to you to have the support of Jesse and Ben at your bench in a match like this?
Yeah, no, it means a lot. I think they made the difference really. I think the first game was not playing it right, so Ben came over, taught me a couple things and definitely made the difference. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jesse. For always being on my bench, being on my side, and yeah, I mean this one is for them really, because that all the stuff that he was telling me, it's what really made the difference.
Congrats, Gabe. That's a huge win there, coming out with that, staying the course. What kind of shifted in that second game towards the end there, and how did you take that into the third game to come away with the victory?
Yeah, I think second game and third game, Ben was telling me to go a little bigger on my serves, and then approaching when I was hitting a drive, closing in, and I think that's what made the difference. I think that's how I won, really. But yeah, thanks again to Ben and Jesse, and also Ben for warming me up, and yeah.
That's awesome. And Gabe, at 18 years old, you're making your second career final, looking for your second gold in 2025 in men's singles. What do you think your family in Bolivia and stateside are saying back home about Gabe Tardio right now?
Yeah, I know my mom is going to be really, really happy. She, singles is not my favorite thing to do, and my mom is, always pushing me to play, and always watching me and supporting me. So thank you for all my family, and especially my mom, because I'm playing this tournament because of her. I didn't want to play singles really, and she told me she believed in me, and yeah.
So sweet. What a way to end it, Gabe. Congratulations. Moving on to Championship Sunday. You can catch Gabe Tardio back in action later on.